All right, so we are looking at water and mineral transport routes, how water and minerals are transported from the root hairs into the vascular tissue. That's the xylem. And we had established that we have 3 transport routes. And one of them is the apoplast route. We also have the symplast route, and we have the transmembrane route. So the water transport routes include the apoplast, the symplast, and the transmembrane routes. The apoplast route includes movement through the cell walls and the space between cells. The water moves through the cell walls and the space between cells. In the symplast route, the water moves through the cytoplasm between cells connected by the plasmodesmata without crossing the plasma membrane. So that's the symplast route. The water passes through the cytoplasm, through this plasmodesmata. Okay, and then we also have the transmembrane route. The transmembrane route involves membrane transport between cells and also across membranes of vacuoles within cells. Okay, the transmembrane, this water moves from one cell membrane to the other. This route permits each cell the greatest amount of control over substances that enter and leave the cell. Now, here is a picture that shows the transport routes of water from the root hairs to the vascular tissues. Here's a figure that shows how water moves in the cell. Now, one of them that we have discussed is the apoplast route, where the water moves through the membrane of the cell wall, and between cells. Then we have the symplast route, where the water moves through the cytoplasm, through the plasmodesmata. This opening here, the space between these cells, is called the plasmodesmata, and the water doesn't pass through the cell membrane or the cell wall. That's the symplast route. Then we also have the transmembrane route. In the transmembrane route, the water passes through the cell membranes and also across the membranes of vacuoles. So it moves from one cell membrane to another. So those are the 3 routes: the apoplast, the symplast, and the transmembrane route. The apoplast, the symplast, and the transmembrane routes. All right, so we want to look at transpiration. Transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration basically is defined as the loss of water vapor by plants. The loss of water vapor by plants is referred to as transpiration. They said that more than 90% of water taken in by the roots of plants is ultimately lost to the atmosphere through transpiration. Water is lost from plants mainly through the stomata of the leaves. And the stomata consists of 2 guard cells that form a small pore on the surfaces of leaves. So we have looked at the fact that transpiration basically means the loss of water through the loss of water vapor from the leaves of plants, and that about 90% of the water that gets in through the roots is lost through transpiration. And lost through the stomata of the leaves. The guard cells control the opening and closing of the stomata in response to various environmental stimuli. Now, there are some factors that are responsible for the process of transpiration. There are some factors that are responsible for the factors of transpiration. And some of these factors include darkness. Then also internal water deficit and extremes of temperature. These factors tend to close the stomata and decrease transpiration. Darkness, when there is no light, and then when there is no water, when the water is reduced, and then when the temperature is too high, it tends to affect the rate of transpiration. It decreases the rate of transpiration. Now, what factors increases the rate of transpiration? Illumination, when there is much light, particularly during the day. So we can now deduce from this that transpiration is reduced during the night and it increases during the day. So illumination, when there's enough sunlight or during the day. Then when there is ample water supply, when there is enough water supply in the soil and optimum temperature, these factors open the stomata and increase transpiration. So the factors that decrease transpiration include darkness, internal water deficit, and extremes in temperature, while the factors that increase transpiration are illumination, as enough light, when there's enough water, there's ample water supply, and optimum temperature. These factors open the stomata and increase transpiration. Stomatal openings are necessary to admit carbon dioxide to the leaf interior and to allow oxygen to escape during photosynthesis. So apart from being responsible for transpiration, the stomata is responsible for receiving carbon dioxide and for also expelling oxygen from the leaves of the plant during photosynthesis. Hence, transpiration is merely an unavoidable phenomenon that accompanies the real functions of the stomata. All right, so that's basically what transpiration does. That's basically what transpiration is able to do. All right, so that's basically how far we can go in today's lecture.